What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Big Dog Brett. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to jump on as usual. We're running a little bit later than normal today, but kind of had a morning Saturday date with the wife, so we got that taken. We had a great time taken care of, so now we're out and about. Well, we were out and about. Now we're back home. Sounds like somebody's sneaking up behind me. Oh, I hear a tiny person. Who we got? Hi. Come here. Up. Yes, up, up. Say good morning. Say hi. Hi. Oh yeah, Cyrus. I'll be calling into that later today. There's no doubt. Probably gonna call in him a couple of times to. He's gonna be doing that for a while. I think that's a champ for trying. Hey, who's hanging out there behind me? Who's back there? Oh yeah. So here's this guy. You're gonna need him in there. Oh, yep. You're gonna have to turn that around. He's learned how to open that. He's learned how to open that from the other side. Yep, you have to put that on this side. Getting ready, guys. Hang tight. All right, there we go. Yeah, he's gonna need a lot of coffee and a Red Bull, and he's already a really kind of a high energy guy. So it's probably gonna be a long night for him. But hats off to him for getting after it. As normal, we're going to give everybody a few minutes to jump on. I'm trying out a new mic set, so guys, do me a favor. Let me know if this mic is working better or if it's not working at all, or what do we got? Hopefully it's working. I don't know, because there's really no easy way for me to tell whether the microphone's working properly or not. Okay. And I don't know if it's working off of this mic or if it's working off of the mic in the phone. Is it loud or is it good? What's up, VDW? I was gonna do it outside, but it looks like it might rain. And yeah. What's up, big dog? I'm finally catching you live. Hey, James, thanks for joining the live show. I normally try to do it in the morning, but me and my wife wanted to get out and go do a few things this morning, so we did that, and now we're back home. Our little guy's giving the wife a handful this morning. Milton and Tank to UGA. Did that just happen, or are you hoping that's going to happen? Let me check. Let's see. Oh, you talking about how he said he feels? Oh yeah. He said he's feeling the love, and I think it was somebody in Ringo. V says Florida's still a dumpster fire, and I'm loving it. Hell yeah, I'm loving it. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They keep talking all that smack. They'll be lucky enough to have enough players to actually get on the field by the time we get there to that game. So, one of the things I noticed, which I'll get into in a little bit, is the first week of college football is different depending on who you are, who you're a fan of. I did find some Georgia paraphernalia that I picked up. I'm kind of digging this new Georgia cup. Thing looks wicked, dude. Look at that. Thing's cool. You drink out of the straw, not the mic, right? Got pushed back a little bit today just due to the running around and trying to get the mic set up and looking at the weather, and it's just kind of been a crazy morning. Less than 50 days until the Tar Heels start up the football season. 49 if you're a UGA fan. 42 if it's, I think Florida's game is 42 days away. What's that on? Yep, ran into some zombies while getting coffee this morning. That was interesting. For those of you who don't know, 49 if you're a UNC fan. That's right. If you're, for those of you who don't know, there's a place in Georgia called Sonoya, and depending on who you are, where you're from, you pronounce it differently. but Sonoya is where they filmed The Walking Dead. And I mean, they have this really high fence all the way around the city, or around the city that they film in, called Alexandria. And you can see the windmill over the top of it, and a lot of times the gates are open and there's signs on it that say "Welcome to Sonoya." Welcome to Alexandria. So it's really cool. Milton said Ringo is coming with him to college, and the only college they have in common is UGA. I saw that Ringo was the one that I had saw Milton had made a comment that he's going wherever Ringo's going, and that's great if they end up coming to UGA, because that's 2 5-stars, and so that's going to push us way up in the ranking. But where was it at here? So if you guys want a really good reference, or what I use for reference a lot of times as far as the data goes, is I look at Dogs 24/7, which is a 24/7 sports game. 47 until Clemson runs down the hill. Is that game being played on a Thursday, Tiger? I think it's being played on a Thursday. What's going on, Jarvis? Yeah. I mean, Thursday games are so weird, though, man. It always feels weird, and I always worry about Thursday games because it feels like it's out of rhythm, you know? You look at that at least 6 times a day. Yep. The only thing I don't like about 24/7 is that they don't always have the updated stats. I mean, sometimes their stats aren't updated, and maybe I'm missing something. But right now, I've been looking at Clemson doesn't get that many Thursday night games. Neither does Georgia. It's always weird. Uncle Luke says all I can do on college football Saturdays is watch college football and drink a Dr. Pepper. Well, I typically drink Dr. Pepper, but I sometimes drink Coke with a pirate assisting the Coca-Cola. So if we're looking, one of the things I'm looking at, UGA's receivers are an area of concern, but those guys are very talented. Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn said that. Drink root beer. You know, I like root beer if it's the gourmet kind. I don't like A&W root beer. It tastes, after drinking gourmet root beer, I mean, maybe that makes me like a craft beer guy, which I'm not. But yeah, I like gourmet root beer. It has ruined me from regular root beer. Milton Ringo Tank going to UGA. Yeah, I mean, all indications say that. I can hardly hear you on my TV or my phone. Let me try changing something here. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. I'm trying a new mic. Did that change, or is it the same? Like I said, I'm trying out new equipment, so let me know. I don't think the external mic is working. Thanks, Vernon, man. I really appreciate the super chat. That definitely helps out the show. The streams are something I'm trying out now. I think everybody kind of likes it, so it's bad. Let me try this. Is that any better? I can always speak up. I have a crazy loud voice, so okay, good deal. Whatever works best for you guys, that's what I'm trying out. I've got to find, I use a Google Pixel 2. So the Google Pixel 2 is notorious for having microphone issues, and I think there's supposed to be some kind of update that helps it. I don't know if my phone's done that or not, but trying that headset, I don't know. I picked up the headset for a really good price, and I can use it for gaming with my kids, so whatever. With Pickens and Blaylock's on our campus, our receiving corps will be fine. The veteran Simmons, Robinson and company. So I'm glad it picked up because I was really concerned about that mic not working properly. So if it's working better now, great. I'm really surprised on the Google Pixel 2 that there's not a microphone gain adjustment. A lot of phones have that. I don't know why the Pixel doesn't. Google's supposed to be so forward thinking, whatever. The last time UNC got a Thursday night game was 2013. What did you say there? We get a lot of Thursday night games, but it's all on the road a lot. Yep. Okay, so Cameron, to answer your question here, nice get for Georgia from Auburn with George Pickens. Yeah, having George Pickens is a huge, huge benefit to us, and he's going to need to step up this year. But the receiving corps is not as bad as some people may think, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to go over the receiving corps. The receiving corps got a whole lot of attention right after we lost J.J. Holloman. So I think it's important to go through what's actually there instead of just thinking our receiving core has been depleted. There's a ton of talent there and guys that got a lot of play last year, and I think UGA fans kind of miss that. I think that they don't really acknowledge how much talent we really have in the receiving core position, or in the receiving core. And I'll get into that here in just a second. I want to answer. Somebody said something here. What was it? Oh, Cameron Gray said, should Texas or Oregon be in the top 10? Yes, I think that Texas absolutely deserves to be in the top 10, especially with the way that they finished their season last year. Do I think that they're a top 5 team? No. Do I think Oregon deserves to be in the top 10? Maybe at 9 or 10. It's hard to say. Interesting, Georgia starting season on the road against Vandy. Yes, it is. Typically, we'll have a kind of a cupcake game to get started, but having a Vandy as an out-season opponent, as a first-game opponent, even though they're an SEC, is not a big concern. Georgia's running back situation with DeAndre Swift and them not having a defensive line that's strong enough to stop it, anybody can stand back there and hand the ball off, and we should win that game by 2 scores easy. Seeing Jake Fromm being mixed in with James Coley's new play-calling style is going to add some new wrinkles and some new folds. So Vandy does have some talent, but not a ton. So we'll see how they fare. But I think that basically the first 3 or 4 games for Georgia are just all tune-up and warm-up games. So until we get to Notre Dame, and then we'll kind of see what we got. But we've got plenty of opportunity to tune up until then. The Notre Dame versus Georgia game has to be a primetime night game. Is it? Does it? I don't know. So let's take a look at something real quick here. I want to see what kind of talent's on Vanderbilt's team and their roster. The one of the big things that I like about 24/7 Sports is that the way that they have things set up in their categories, you can click the top of the field and it will automatically sort by stats. So Vandy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 4-stars, and that's their top 4 stars. And one of those is a freshman, and 1, 2, 3 of those are sophomores. So half of their talent on their team is either first or second year players. So I'm really not concerned. Now they do have a whole bunch of 3-stars. Don't get me wrong, but they're leaps and bounds away from the talent level at Georgia. I think I tried to count it one time, and I think Georgia has somewhere in the neighborhood of like 38 or 40 something 4-stars, and I forget how many 5-stars, but it's a lot. With UCF playing Stafford and Cincinnati, could they go to the playoffs or just be in a New Year's ball game? I think UCF, in order for them to even be considered for the playoff, a lot of things has to play into their favor. You'd have to have an SEC that would cannibalize itself. You'd have to have 22 5-stars is I think how many we have, RB. You'd have to have the SEC cannibalize itself. You'd have to have a lot of stuff go wrong in a lot of other conferences, and then they'd have to not only be dominant, but they'd have to go undefeated and be dominant doing so. I mean, a whole lot of things would have to go in their way. They don't play in a Power 5 conference in the way that they got beat by LSU when they played them last year. It doesn't. Their resume doesn't help them. Interesting November for Georgia, Texas A&M, Auburn, Georgia Tech. I really like a healthy DeAndre Swift, and the offensive line is phenomenal. Has a roster to make a run. It does. I'm a little concerned about our defense, interior of our defensive line. Once we get that fixed, we'll be fine. UCF, they lost both. You're right. They lost both of their quarterbacks, and that was really kind of the strength of their team, at least in my opinion. Once you bottled up the run, they were able to really make some good pass plays. They had some quarterbacks that could really make some tight throws, but now that that's gone, I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to jump into the receiving core, just kind of let you guys know what's out there, what's existing. And I want to talk about the hype, because in previous years, at least in my opinion, hold on, I don't want to wear this. I want to wear that. So in previous years, UGA has had a height problem at the wide receiver position, at least in my opinion. And I don't feel like in recent years we've had the guys that could match up height wise against. What you got there? Hold on, my wife's got me tasting something. Stand by.
That's how I've used tasting one for kids.
Yeah, that's really good.
You wanna know why?
Because that's the throwback.
Because that's the throwback.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 20 extra cent, and that's what I'm getting from now on.
Will do. Hey, thanks, Vernon. I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna check out your channel when I get a chance, man. Thank you for tuning in, sir. OYG Hitta RU says go roll tide. Vanny doesn't have the roster complete. Vernon's right. So our little guy's having a blast today. So if we're looking at the height, Georgia has Tommy Winbush, who's coming in, who's a 4-star guy. He's a freshman. He's 6'5". Lawrence Cager, who is a graduate transfer, he's a 3-star, but he's razor close to being a 4-star player. As a graduate transfer at 6'5", 220, he's a senior. He's got experience under his belt. He's going to help us out a lot. I look for Lawrence Cager to kind of be a leader on this team. He's only 2 other seniors on this team, and one of them is a Kel Crumpton. Crumpton hasn't had a lot of play time, and he's listed as only a 2-star, but I think his talent level is higher than that. And the only other senior we have on the team is Tyler Simmons, and Tyler Simmons is 6 foot tall, but he's a senior. So we've got a couple of freshmen, a couple of juniors, and then we've got Dominic Blaylock and Patrick Bond. Patrick Bond's not rated as a 5-star. I don't think he's rated at all. But Dominic Blaylock is a 5-star. So right now, Georgia actually has 2 5-star wide receivers, Demetrius Robinson and Dominic Blaylock. Dominic Blaylock, for those of you who don't know, is the son of Mookie Blaylock, who's an NBA player. So that athletic mindset exists in that family, and he's looking to stand apart from his father's name. So he's really, really competitive, and he really wants to play hard. Uncle Lou is doing a 24 live stream, yeah. Camera Grace says they're looking to put Nebraska ranked at 24. Do they deserve it? Probably, because there's really not that many good teams coming up this year. I mean, honestly, you've got Tennessee's in a rebuild, Florida's in a rebuild, LSU's obviously in there. So, I mean, it's just my opinion. So you got Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU, and that's pretty much it out of the SEC. Usually we have a few more out of the SEC. Then you've got Clemson, let's say Michigan, let's say Ohio State, say Oklahoma, then Texas. That's like 12. Throw an Oregon in there, throw a Washington in there, and then who you're going to put in. And I mean, that's not even 15 teams. So can you recommend 24? Probably. But it's because, and maybe you could throw Notre Dame in at like 20. But honestly, how are you going to fill up a list of top 25 right now? It's really hard to do because there's, in my opinion, not a whole lot of dominant teams out there right now. I mean, if you want to, it's actually pretty easy to list the top 5. Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Oklahoma, maybe Ohio State, or maybe Michigan, maybe. And then after that, you're lost. I mean, where do you go? And it's because you can say all those teams, the talent level is so much to being the same. It's hard to say. But I mean, I think after you get out of the top 4 or 5, you're kind of lost. But anyway, back to the receiving core. If you're looking at the receiving core, you got Matt Landers, who's 6'5". You got Lawrence Cager, who's 6'5". You got Tommy Winbush, who's 6'5". And then you've got Josh Moran, who's 6'2", Trey Blount, who's 6'2", and then Jason Stanley, who's 6'2". So you've got some height at those positions again. Even if and a lot of these guys are 4-star players, and a couple of them are 5-star players. Even if these guys are not the most talented in the world, just having that 6'5" height is going to help a lot. So, James Willoughby says, hopefully our rebuild years are over. We now we reload, or know that we reload. I agree, and I was having a conversation with Keith, and I don't know if he's in the stream or not, but me and Keith were having a conversation how now when you lose a player that you were after, it's like, we didn't get him. When before, if you didn't get a player you were after, it was like, oh man, what are we gonna do? That was a big problem during the Mark Richt years because we would have a player that we wanted that we couldn't get, them ramen noodles. Hey, you got kids, you got ramen noodles. I got a teenage boy, he eats some ramen noodles. Because he'll come in there, Mom, I'm hungry. Man, you just had dinner. Mom, I'm hungry. Go eat a pack of ramen noodles and a sandwich. Boy, you killing me.
Horrible parenting.
I don't care if it's horrible parenting. It's what the finances will allow. And I bet every person in this live stream eats ramen noodles or has at some point. Hey, what's up, Daniel? Go dog, buddy. Who do I think is better, Trevor or Tua? As long as you don't ask me, as long as you don't say that Tua is better because when he's not hurt, that's part of college football. Yeah. I think that Trevor is an outstanding quarterback. I think that after this year, if Trevor Lawrence wanted to, he could probably go pro if he wanted to. He's that good. That guy's phenomenal. He's got some great wide receivers, but if you go back and you watch his highlight tape, he can make the passes. He really can. Tua, Georgia's been able to shut Tua down. I haven't seen anybody be able to shut down Trevor Lawrence. I got a case right now. My kids prefer noodles over steak. Salty Dog says noodles. I'm guessing he meant yuck, but he said uke. So I don't know. What's up, Gage? Welcome back, buddy. But yeah, I mean, it's right now. There's a ton of talent on the UGA roster. I mean, if you look at the fact that Georgia, and most people right now can't even tell you how many wide receivers Georgia has. If you guys had to guess without looking, you're in a hurricane right now, VLR. What are you doing? You in Florida, buddy? Hold on, incoming. Somebody just came up to my door. Oh, it's the mail lady. NW. I'm losing my mind. What is NW? So while I'm waiting on him to answer, NOLA. Okay. If you had to guess right now, how many wide receivers do you think UGA has? Panama City Beach. My brother lives close to there. Just how many wide receivers do you think is on the roster at UGA right now? 10? It's a fair guess. 9? It's a fair guess. What if I told you there were 17? 17 wide receivers right now at UGA. I don't know if all those guys are on a scholarship, but that's a ton of wide receivers. I mean, not all of those guys are 6 foot. Not all of those guys. I mean, not all of those guys are 6 foot. Some of those guys are 5'10". Some of them are walk-ons. Some of them are. There's going to be transfers. That's true. But out of all the wide receivers here, let me see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the wide receivers we have are freshmen. So that tells me that UGA is looking for talent. I don't know how to spell. Undefeated. Undefeated, sir. Yep. So there's obviously an opportunity for Georgia to find some talent there. We have the players on the sideline, and it's going to be who steps up. The fact that we had as many as we had last year, and then we rolled 8 more in, that's really interesting. That means UGA cares about that position. Jay Holt says, I know Georgia shut Tua down, but in my humble opinion, he had an off day, and I think he will play tremendously better this year. He might even throw for 250, 300 yards. What do you think? If you're saying he's going to average 250 to 300 yards per game, that would be incredible considering the amount of that they want to run the ball. They want to try and split that evenly. So you'd have to have essentially Alabama averaging 500 to 600 yards per game, and that would be like the 86 Bears or something. It'd be crazy. They're all good enough to play against teams like Texas, Alabama, but are they all? No, not all of them. Of course not. Best wide receiving core in the history of Georgia. Arguably, yes. There's been much more focus on Grant Delpit or JRE. When you're looking at what's sitting there for talent, young but most talented ever, and it's not even close. If you look at the recruiting boards, we have 2 5-stars and 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll even say 5 4-stars. You could probably even make an argument for 6 4-stars. That's an incredibly talented receiving core, and it was one of the reasons I wanted to do that during the live stream. People think that because we lost J.J. Holloman that the receiving core is just destroyed, and it's not. The receiving core is very sound, and I'm okay with it being underestimated. I'm really okay with that. One of the reasons that the receiving core was not getting the credit that it deserved was not because our guys weren't catching the balls, and it wasn't because Jake Fromm wasn't making the passes. It was because the play calling was designed to be run first and run heavy, which is fine if it works. But whenever we had to lean on Jake Fromm to win the game, he couldn't. And I think that was a big part in because of the play calling. UGA has talent, just no experience. Yes. Uncommon opinion, Brian Robinson has more potential than Najee Harris. Definitely will run the ball more this year. I'm good with that. If whoever can step up, whenever can step up, however step up, then that's fine. Just step up. But you've got to have that happen every year. No Kirby rolled the coverage to the left versus Tua and Nick had no answer, and Clemson did the same. I don't know about that. I have to look into it, but it's possible. What's going on, Artie? Texas is coming into recruiting and doing better than OU, so could Texas take OU's place and own the Big 12? Why is my live feed not keeping up, man? It is driving me nuts. There we go. What's going on, Jay? I think D-Rob has a breakout season. Or top 5. So one of the things that I look up from time to time, I actually made a video. Guess how many 5-stars Mark Rich had at receiver? I was going to say 2. AJ Green, and who was the other one? Beck or Mathis is going to be the backup, J-Hope. 1. I actually made a video about Texas, and I went through Marlon Brown, Trent Thompson. I went through the stats for Texas, and I was actually kind of dumbfounded. And I'll pull one of them up right now, and let me do, just because I want to make sure I get it right. And this is not to trash talk Texas. I can make a trash talk video, but there's really no point in me making a trash talk video about Texas.
You could trash talk Texas and then you ain't getting no supper.
Yeah, my wife says I can trash talk Texas and I won't get no supper. It's all right, Mom.
Trash talk Oklahoma.
Trash talk Oklahoma. I already did that. All right, so now this may be. So let me go back. I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through Texas's. What is going on here at the top chat? Chat keeps screwing up, man. Trash talk about FSU. That's too easy, man. It's like shooting. That's like shooting free seafood in a barrel. All right, so if we go back to the last time that Texas had more than 10 wins in a season, I have to go all the way back to 2009. And then after that, they went 5-7, 8-5, 9-4, 8-5, 6-7, 5-7, 5-7, 7-6, and then last year 10-4. So can I say that they're back? Absolutely not. One good season doesn't constitute that you're back. Now, to be fair, if I look at the same, if you look at UGA, UGA win record, and I'm going to pull up the same thing here. Who's the best fans in college football by crazy people? it's hard to say. There's some wild fans out there. So if I look at UGA, if I go back to the same time frame if I go all the way back to 2008, Georgia's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10+ win seasons. Texas has had none. People say Georgia's overrated, but we've had 10-win+ seasons. So, Natty Back Steve. What's she cooking? I don't know, dude. My wife's an excellent cook. She just surprises me all the time. That's why I'm Big Dog Brett instead of Skinny Dog Brett. See, a woman can cook. And if you go back and you look at our record from back in like 2008, second in the East, third in the East, first in the East, tied first in the East, third in the East, second in the East, second in the East. If you jump over to Texas, it's fourth, sixth, fifth, sixth, tied for second, third, sixth. I mean, there's a lot to be said for, is Texas back? I don't think one good season makes you back. I think they had a good season. I think they played a deflated Georgia team, and they walked away with a win. If it's chicken and dumplings, you're coming over. I don't think there's much of anything that I could ask my wife to cook that she couldn't cook. Woman is outstanding in the kitchen. Outstanding. So much that the neighbors' kids will show up at our house for dinner. It's crazy. Let me get rid of that. So, but back to what we were talking about with the receiving corps. One of the guys I kind of wanted to highlight a little bit was Dominic Blaylock. Chicken and dumplings does sound good. You think LSU will go 11-1 or 10-2? I think Georgia will go undefeated. I think LSU has an opportunity to go 11-1. I think they may even have an opportunity to go 12-0. But I think their two biggest hurdles, believe it or not, is going to be Alabama, obviously, and it's going to be Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M match up really well with LSU and Texas A&M. Jay's like, I got bourbon chicken from the Chinese restaurant. That's not a bad call either for lunch. I'll be honest with you. I like Chinese food. But they've got I think if they could beat Texas A&M soundly this year, I think that'll do a lot for saying about how that program is moving forward. I think if LSU was in the East and Georgia was in the West, I think that the Georgia would have the same problem. They have the same problem. But I want to tell you guys about Dominic Blaylock. So he was ranked as the 34th prospect nationally, 6th wide receiver nationally, and 7th player in the state of Georgia at all positions. What's going on, John? He's a 5-star prospect, number 1 ranked wide receiver, and a member of the top 150 Dream Team on ESPN.com. When he was playing high school football, he had 52 total touchdowns and 3,500 yards in total offense. Named the 2018 Atlanta Journal-Constitution Preseason Super 11. Helped lead Walton to a 10-2 and top 20 ranking in the state. And in appearance, carries for 10 touchdowns. Named Back of the Week by the Touchdown Club. But think about it. Named Back of the Week. Back of the Week. Not wide receiver. By the Touchdown Club of Atlanta after his game-winning 11-yard touchdown run in Week 4. This guy's list just goes on and on and on and on. Kirby's first undefeated season, book it now. I'm a little more cautious than that, Daniel. I mean, I want it to be that way, but I'm very, very cautious. He also earned offensive MVP honors at the U.S. All-American Bowl National Combine. I mean, this guy he's got so many accolades, and nobody's talking about this guy. And that's fine. I want our receiving corps to be undefeated, my little boy, the littlest boy, is trying to get into some snacks. Anyway, if we get past Auburn, I think we'll win it all. I don't think Auburn's a concern. I think that Kirby Smart has had an opportunity to kind of figure out what and how Gus Malzahn runs. And I don't think Gus Malzahn is going to be able to do a whole lot. By the time Georgia play him, it's possible or even likely that Auburn could have multiple losses by the time they play Georgia. So they could be pretty deflated. Gus is definitely on a hot seat. The only thing that's helping Gus is a tremendous buyout that he has in his contract.
I just checked the email, and the house that we're looking at, she just sent us an email, and it's now saying it's 200.
Huh? Who sent that to us?
Cassandra just sent me that in an email. That's her updated thing.
Oh.
So when you get done with your live, you need to check on
Yeah,
that.
I need to check on that. So anyway,
Can you do that?
I don't know. I've never heard of that. But what can you do? Auburn is the best defense we will see on the road. Auburn has a good defense, and they have a couple of really fast wide receivers. But I think Georgia's cornerback situation is definitely improved, so I think we'll shut that down, and then Auburn has to run the ball. And I think that's where they're going to stagnate. They traditionally only won.
It's not listed as 2.
Huh. Well, send her a text message and ask. So, the wife got me all off. It got me all off kilter. She asked me some questions. I think that once they traditionally only go with one running back, and they just wear the treads off of that guy. What is it? Amber, can you come grab Tiny? Hi. You got a baby gate up, so typically I do it outside, so it's a little more. That's my tiny guy. Tiny guy. Texas A&M plays 4 hard teams: Alabama, Clemson, LSU, and Georgia. So they could upset every single one of those teams or go 8-4. It is hot outside. It's about 85 degrees, and a storm was pushing in, so it's pushed some humidity down. They have a good front 7, and that's it. That's absolutely right. Go look what I said about the Georgia 5 stars. Hold on, let me see. Georgia and Milton and Ringo and Washington and Sherman and Gilbert. Georgia will. I don't know if they'll get Sherman and Gilbert. I think they may get Sherman. I don't know about Gilbert. Gilbert said multiple times he likes UGA. Those of you that's joined the channel a little bit later, I got a new Georgia cup. This thing's cool. We went to, I think it was Home Goods or something, and they had it on clearance for like $12. And normally these things are like $30. You will get what we had, rain. I'm okay with it raining right now. Thanks, man. Thanks, Cameron. But Georgia receiving corps certainly has an opportunity to have a standout year. If Jake Fromm can make a few changes, thank you, sir. Appreciate it, James. By the way, we're in the process of looking to buy another house, and once we get that, I'm actually going to have a room that's kind of made for, doing the show. So you guys have you'll see backdrop stuff with UGA gear and whatnot, and I can have some better lighting and things along that nature. Right now, I have some lighting, but it's not the best in the world. I don't think y'all will get Zach Evans. I think LSU will get him, but he said F you to Alabama. I think one of the things that's starting to kind of turn a little bit at Alabama is I think some of these other players are starting to see that they can still get on a big stage. It's 85 in Terrapin territory. You're up in Maryland, dude? What are you doing in Maryland, Tiger? Get out of there. Run away. This is my daughter. Good morning, Kylie. She's excited. She just woke up. Big dog just passed an opportunity to buy a house in Auburn, Georgia. Didn't want an Auburn. Yeah, Auburn's got plenty of houses for sale. Could Baylor be back into the football life? No. They get a few decent players here and there, but it's going to take them 5 or 6 years to recover. If you guys get a chance, go watch some of Dominic Blaylock's tape. Go watch Demetrius Robinson's tape. Go watch Tommy Wimbush, and tell me what you think about and tell me what you guys think about their talent level. Those guys are incredible. You was at the Clemson Maryland game in College Park. Wow. What do I think about Washington's 2021 class? It is nuts. I haven't even looked at that yet, dude. I'm focused on 2020 and Tommy Bush, not Wimbush. Thank you. Let me pull that up since you're talking about it. Washington recruiting class 20. Let's see. Oh wow. They've got 3 5-stars already and 3. These guys aren't signed. I think they're just committed. These guys can flip all the time though. I mean, sometimes these guys will actually jump on a recruit thing like this and they'll say that they're going to these places, and then by the time it's all said and done, the other teams will start noticing them and they'll pick them up. One of the players for UGA, I can't remember who it was, he had committed to Florida just so that he could get Georgia's attention, and then once he got Georgia's attention, he immediately flipped to Georgia, and then said that's why he did it. So these recruits play all kind of games. Who knows? We'll have to see. The 3 guys that they have signed that are 5-stars are all from the state of Washington, so it's very possible that they could flip. And right now, one of those guys, which is Emeka Egbuka, I guess that's his name. He's a very, very highly ranked recruit. It's 50% Washington, 25% Florida State, and 25% Ohio State. So who knows? But yeah, that's looking really good for them. There's no doubt about that. That's recruits in the state of Washington, and that's the top 3. So it is what it is. Where's the live stream go? There we go. 2 NFL running backs, 5 to 6 wide receivers, and we're just looking a little thin at tight end. Charlie Warner is going to help fill in that role, but we kind of have a stable of tight ends as well. Charlie Warner is a 4-star. He's a senior. Jackson Harris is a 4-star. He's a senior. We have John Fitzpatrick, who is 6'5", 6'6", 6'6", and all these guys are 4-stars. He's a freshman.
They sure did change the price if you're also interested. I had sent the contract to Rick sign, he hasn't signed it yet.
So,
Let me, I'm
All right.
gonna let you go to Oliver.
well, I mean, that's kind of what's going on with that. So I think we got a pretty good amount of tight ends. The running backs are loaded. Wide receivers are loaded. Offensive line is stacked. I mean, I think we're doing good. Do I think UGA is becoming a national brand, or is it a local brand? It's definitely becoming a national brand. More and more people are starting to watch UGA and take them seriously, especially since we played Alabama close to the wire twice. So let me do this. All right, guys, it's starting to get a little crazy around my house, so we're going to call it a day. I know it's a little bit shorter than what we normally go, but got a lot of moving parts going on. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thanks so much. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share. We've picked up quite a few subscribers since last week, so don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share. Please share. It really helps. Tiger, I didn't know you were a student, but give me some tickets, man. We'll sit in the student section and cheer them on. So thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. You guys have a great day. God bless. Go Dogs.